The world will be watching as the nation marks 10 years since the 9/11 attacks on Sunday.
It's a day most of us will never forget because it changed our lives forever. For some, those changes have been more dramatic than others. 10 on Your Side's Art Kahn explains this aspect of the story. Art?
Well, Nicole, Stephanie, from increased security checks at airports to restricted parking near federal buildings or barricades in front of military installations, those changes have affected all of us. But for first responders in Hampton Roads and across the nation, 9/11 continues to directly impact the way they do business every time they leave the station. With all its bridges and tunnels, Hampton Roads is a target-rich environment for terrorists. Following the attacks of September 11th, the Virginia Department of Transportation intensified monitoring of all activities in and around these structures. This Sunday will be no different, according to VDOT, which says, quote, "Our employees will remain vigilant and cognizant of any suspicious activity." The city of Norfolk will be holding a Day of Remembrance ceremony at Nauticus and Town Point Park on Sunday. A spokesperson for the city, Bob Batcher, says appropriate security will be in place as with any other downtown event.
It is one of the things that's day to day. It's not just September 11th.
But for Norfolk firefighters and first responders everywhere, day to day is no longer routine.
It's like we're running a race, and we can't afford to lose the race, but there's no finish line.
Norfolk Fire Chief Jeffrey Wise says firefighters must train constantly to respond to a threat that is always changing.
Chemical events, biological events, radiological events.
Responding to an industrial accident that produced an ammonia leak at this plant last April, emergency crews had to concern themselves with more than containing the leak and treating the injured.
The initial responders did their very best to rule out whether there could have been something more to it than just an accident. We're constantly aware of the possibility that this is an event where someone is trying to harm a large number of Americans.
Despite all their training and all their special equipment, if terrorists do launch an attack in Hampton Roads, emergency crews have limited options.
We're either going to try to mitigate the event quickly, or we're just really looking to get people out of harm's way.
And Chief Wise tells me it does put a lot of pressure on them. Also, 9/11 has put a strain on city finances as well. Outfitting police and fire to deal with so many different kinds of threats is expensive. Art Kahn, 10 on Your Side.